Welcome back. Let's talk about paleogeography. By the way, if you've downloaded and you're looking at the lecture kind of PowerPoint PDF thing, you might be looking at this like, oh man, there's like 200 slides. A lot of them are just pictures, maps and pictures. Like this section is like 50 slides, 50 pages on the PowerPoint, but it's just a bunch of maps that I'm going to kind of go through real quick. So looks can be deceiving. So paleogeography. Paleo means old. Geography means where things were at. So this is where things were at in the past, as far as land is concerned. So paleogeographic maps are these pretty awesome things, and I'll show you a couple of examples. What we as geologists have done is look at all the evidence, not just rocks and fossils, but paleoclimatic data, so that's old climate data from the past. Paleomagnetism, we talked about that in this class, how rocks can lock in the orientation of the magnetic field at a particular time. Paleontological, so just fossil evidence, sediment evidence, stratigraphic layers evidence, tectonic information. So we can put all of this together to, kind of approximate and recreate and create these maps, these wonderful maps of what Earth looked like in the past. They are, interpretations, but they are based on data and evidence and information. Obviously, there was no pictures, there was no satellites, there was no cameras hundreds of millions of years ago, hell, let alone a few hundred years ago. So they are somewhat interpretations, but it's all based on evidence and data that we have. So we can, with good reasoning, put these things together. So in the Paleozoic era, when we look at these maps, you're going to see usually six big chunks of stuff floating around. 6 major continents were present. There was Baltica, which is now what is Western Russia. China, which is now China, Indochina, and the Malay Peninsula. Gondwana is kind of a semi-supercontinent you'll see floating around that consists of Africa, Antarctica, Australia, Florida, India, Madagascar, and parts of the Middle East and Southern Europe. So what I'm talking about is what these were named, what we named them, these Paleozoic continents, and what areas they kind of contain now, like if we were to think about that. Which is crazy to think that Florida, right? Florida was once part of all of these other things in this big chunk of land called Gondwana. Get ready for this one. Kazakhstania contains Kazakhstan, present-day Kazakhstan. Laurentia, right, which we've been talking about, so parts of North America, Greenland, Ireland, Scotland, and Siberia, which contains modern-day Eastern Russia, and then Asia, kind of north of Kazakhstan and south of Mongolia. There was also numerous small little things, little microcontinents floating around there. Again, there were just kind of 6 bigger ones, but there was smaller stuff floating around there. Avalonia, which you get a lot of European countries, as well as Newfoundland, which is in Canada, go figure. And then a number of island arcs associated with various microplates and tectonic activity. So let's take a look at some of these paleogeographic maps. They're really kind of cool. They can be, somewhat, I don't say boring, but, somewhat just plain, just kind of maps that look like this. And as we're going through the history of the Earth, we'll come back to these in part, but I just wanted to show you what they look like. And so they can kind of show you things moving around. So, for instance, looking at Siberia is now up here. Laurentia, where did Laurentia go? Oh, kind of more down here, then back up here. But they show you kind of land, mountains, shallow seas, deep ocean basins, subduction zones, so convergent boundaries. So anyway, this is a series of these things that were kind of put together. They can also show you different information, like these show not only the land of Earth past, but also shows us water currents, which is very important. The hydrosphere is connected to the geosphere, which is connected to the atmosphere. So ocean currents are really big in regards to climate, how the climate works, and a number of other things. So anyway, you can kind of put these together as well. And then some of my favorites are the ones that start to look a little more real. So here's a series of a few, but kind of the same things. It's showing some of the 6 major continents. If you keep an eye on Laurentia, North America, you can see how it's kind of, maybe this way. No, maybe this way. Yeah. So you can see it's going to start to turn kind of counterclockwise a little bit. And then it's going to start to move up. You can see some mountains developing as other things are crashing into it as we go throughout time. This is Pangea as we get to, or the formation of Pangea as we get into it towards the end of the Paleozoic era. So these are all, they all kind of show the same thing. But some of these ones, again, I just think they're real cool. They really just show the dance of the continents and how they all worked and how things, come together, glaciation, how things moved around, where things were. Let's see here as we get into, and then there's other ones, kind of the same stuff, but then it also shows you the North Pole and South Pole instead of just kind of stretching it all out like it does in these views. So you can get a view of what's there, what's moving around. So this is Gondwana down here. Spent a lot of time over the South Pole. And then we can focus in on, there's some that focus in on just North America, and we can see as, it's getting covered with water, so it gets transgressions, water's leaving, regressions. We can see some stuff going on here, some things colliding. It's going to cause some mountain ranges over around this side. Same thing over here. Here comes some more stuff. It's going to cause even more mountain activity. We can see some other things going on around here. Again, these are just really cool maps. These Paleogeographic maps. And then we can focus in on just Arizona. So there's a number of people that have made these things. And we'll look at some of these more in lab. But these are all cool Paleogeographic maps. All right, so anyway. Again, just a lot of different slides there. So anyway, we'll look at those more so in lab, but we'll also kind of look at these as we're going through the evolution of North America, which will start in section 3. We'll see you back here in just a second.